Welcome to the Daily Fortune, where we talk about the latest topics about finance and investment. But before that, please don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll know when we upload a new video. Now let's get started. It's that time of year, 13F season, which means we get to take a look inside the purchase of the world's biggest and most successful investors. The 13F filing for Berkshire Hathaway was just issued a few months ago, and it's for the fourth quarter of 2021. It's kind of frustrating considering that period ended a few days ago, but those are the rules. Huge investors have a 45-day period to keep their trades private before they become public information, and that period has now passed, and this is what we're all waiting for. Let's look at Warren Buffett's stock market moves in Q4. So despite not doing much buying in the quarter, Berkshire Hathaway's stock portfolio expanded significantly, and their portfolio is now worth a record of $330.9 billion. And that's just the stock portfolio. Consider the fact that they have more tangible assets, with more infrastructure than any other firm in America. It's easy to see why Berkshire Hathaway is the country's sixth largest company overall. $33.9 billion in stock, and sadly we haven't seen Berkshire's full year results so far. But if we just look at the third quarter financials, they had $149.2 billion in cash or short-term treasury bonds, which implies they're probably sitting somewhere around 31% cash, which is a lot. But it's also about the same cash percentage that Buffett has been managing for the past few years. So there aren't any major changes there, and it's also worth noting that Buffett has previously stated that about $20 billion of that is untouchable in case of financial emergency. So in fact, the amount of usable cash will be a little lower, but 30% cash is still a lot of money, and we know why. The unpleasant truth is that Warren Buffett has been having a hard time finding excellent investments to put his money into. This is due to two factors. First, the market is extremely overpriced, with prices being sky high, and second, Berkshire Hathaway doesn't have that many options to begin with. Remember that they prefer to own roughly 5% of businesses, but they also want to invest 10 to 20 billion every investment. So it implies they're searching for companies with a market worth of at least 200 billion to 400 billion so that their investment makes a difference. And there aren't many companies of that size out there. So it's difficult at the top, but Buffett continues to accumulate cash as he looks for the next big investment. So let's take a look at what he really bought and sold in the fourth quarter. The Berkshire Hathaway portfolio started the fourth quarter with 43 stocks and ended it with 44. So there were 2 stocks that Berkshire sold out of and 3 that they bought into. To begin with sales, Berkshire sold out of Teva Pharmaceutical Industries and SiriusXM Satellite Radio Holdings. Buffett has been selling pharmaceuticals quite a bit recently, so the Teva Pharmaceutical sale isn't shocking. This was a bigger industry bet similar to the airlines that he's now abandoning. So he sold out of Merck last quarter and reduced his holdings in AbbVie and Bristol Myers Squibb. So there's a trend there, and it continued into Q4. I didn't see the major XM sell coming, which is America's largest satellite radio company. It was only a 0.09 change to the Berkshire portfolio, so it would have been way down the list. It's very minor. However, Berkshire Hathaway also purchased 3 new holdings, the first of which was Liberty Media Corp, Series C Liberty Formula One. So whenever I look into Liberty Media, I'm always perplexed because they're one firm with 9 different stocks to choose from. So they divide themselves into 3 sections. There are 3 groups: SiriusXM, Formula One, and the Braves. Then each of these groups own a different percentage of their various properties, as well as having 3 different classes of shares, which is crazy. Berkshire has just taken a position in the Formula One group, and they've purchased the C-Class shares, which are non-voting shares. And, as I've previously stated, these shares reflect minor investments in some of Liberty Media's numerous businesses, but they truly represent Formula One. So as we've seen in recent years, Formula One has an enormous spike in viewership as a result of the Netflix series' effort to stay afloat. With that, plus the incredibly close championship in 2021 and fresh regulation revisions in 2022, it looks like a new golden era for Formula One has begun, and Berkshire definitely wants a cut of the pie. However, it is worth mentioning that this is a relatively minor stake in the larger scheme of things, accounting for only 0.04% of their portfolio and ranking as the 33rd largest holding. Formula One receives the Buffett stamp of approval. And then we move on to the next buy, Activision Blizzard. This is an intriguing one. Blizzard is a large video game developer that owned titles such as Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Warcraft, Crash Bandicoot, Diablo, Overwatch, StarCraft, Call of Duty, and Candy Crush. And of course, this one has been in the news a lot lately. Most recently when Microsoft announced their intention to acquire the company for $69 billion. But before that big news, the stock was getting slammed because there were confirmed reports of toxic corporate culture at the company, where many of their female and some male employees were sexually harassed. So that ongoing saga sent the stock down about 45% from its February high to a 52-week low of $56.40. That price seemed to be cheap for the actual financial performance of the business, so Berkshire added it to the portfolio. At number 24, they have 0.29% of their portfolio. And of course, Berkshire got in well before the announcement of a Microsoft takeover. So this is already an outrageously brilliant investment for them, because regardless of when they bought it in Q4, they'd almost certainly be up on their position. In just a few months, they may have risen by as much as 42%. So there you have it, Activision Blizzard. The third stock that's added by Berkshire Hathaway in Q4 was NU or New Holdings, which is a Brazilian fintech company that provides a digital banking platform that offers customers products across spending, saving, investing, borrowing, and protecting. It's also the largest financial technology bank in Latin America. However, the stake accounts for 0.3% of the portfolio. It's valued at nearly $1 billion and ranks 23rd on the list. And that's it. That's all the new buys. But honestly, I don't think Buffett bought any of them because we have to remember that Buffett is only one of 3 people who manage investments under the Berkshire Hathaway name. There's also Todd Combs and Ted Weschler, the 2 guys Buffett hired and gave $10 billion each to manage. And let's face it, Buffett isn't going to tell anyone about any stock moves that are less than 1% of Berkshire's overall portfolio. I believe he's accountable for the top 20 positions, and the rest is probably Mr. Todd or Ted. And if we look at those top 20 positions, there isn't much going on. Apple, Bank of America, American Express, Coca-Cola, Kraft Heinz, Moody's, Verizon, and United States Bancorp were all left unchanged. And they account for 87% of Berkshire's portfolio. So if you ask me what Buffett did in the quarter, he probably added 33 to Chevron, 0.061 to Kroger, 8.55 to Charter Communications, and then he told his team to keep selling pharmaceuticals, which resulted in a 79% reduction in ABV, a 76% reduction in Bristol-Myers Squibb, a 34% reduction in Royalty Pharma, and of course, the entire sellout of Teva Pharmaceutical. I believe he did that this quarter, and the rest was probably Mr. Todd or Ted. Do you think Warren Buffett would invest in Formula One? Certainly not. Do you think he's playing Overwatch or the latest COD? Probably not. So for me, I believe Buffett accomplished very little in the fourth quarter, with only one substantial shift in the top 10 to 15 holdings, namely the 33% increase in Chevron. What will be more intriguing is to see if Buffett bought any Berkshire Hathaway shares during the quarter through share repurchases. But we'll have to wait to find out because that's when Berkshire will be recording or publishing their fourth quarter statistics. And that's it, Berkshire's 13F filing for the fourth quarter of 2021. Thank you for watching. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something from today's video, and to get updated with the next videos, don't forget to hit the notification bell. See you next time.